This is the Rookie Big Board Rookie Profile Series. I'm your host, Matt Hicks, the FF Educator, joined as always by John Lobb, the Gridiron Scholar. This is the Marvin Mims Rookie Profile. John, I have been waiting a long time to talk about my guy, Marvin Mims, and it's the perfect opportunity because he is red hot coming off of a fantastic combine, which he pairs with excellent tape that we've been hyping up for a while, John. So without further ado, let's get into why we are so excited about the wide receiver out of Oklahoma.
Well, Matt, I hope I can get on the train with you. I want a ticket on this express. I have to admit, he was in my top 12 all off season, but he wasn't really in that upper echelon, and he wasn't a player who I expected to make an immediate splash in the NFL. But this is why data points matter, Matt. We didn't see him at the Senior Bowl, and the numbers are good, but they're not eye-popping. The tape, I've been more impressed as I went back to watch more. But Matt, after that combine time, I had to watch a lot more Marvin Mims, and I like him a lot more right now. Part of it, when I was watching Oklahoma this year, they were 6-6, so they weren't a great football team. And I was studying Dylan Gabriel for Devy and Eric Gray as a college fantasy football runner and possible prospect. And at times I saw Marvin Mims on the screen, but it wasn't like, oh my God, like Jordan Addison would blow me away. Mims didn't do that when I watched him. Since then, I have been a little bit more blown away. Second, there's a little bit of concern. When you look at the 10 years that I've been studying and player profiles, we have Sterling Shepard, D.D. Westbrook, C.D. Lamb, and Marquise Brown are the big Sooners. Nice names, but it's a hodgepodge of goodness at the NFL/fantasy level. So I was a little bit, is he just a Sooner? Is he part of this system, this Lincoln Riley system? But they changed systems at Oklahoma, and I was very impressed with this year, Matt. We've known about him from a while. Coming out of high school, he was a 4-star prospect. And as a senior, Matt, 117 catches for 2,629 yards and 32 touchdowns. He set a Texas high school state record for receiving yards in a career with 5,485 and in a season with 2,629. He produced more than 5,400 receiving yards and 60-plus touchdowns in his high school career. So he really left high school, and he ended up going to Oklahoma, right? I mean, I'm sure the Texas schools, they wanted this young man on their campus, but he goes north to Oklahoma. As a true freshman in 2020, he became the first receiver in school history to earn the Football Writers Association of America Freshman All-America. He played in 11 games that year, and he made one start. He had 37 receptions for 610 yards and 9 touchdowns. So we have an early breakout for Marvin Mims. He also was named Freshman All-America by ESPN and The Athletic. He earned second-team All-Big 12. More importantly, Matt, he showed us his explosiveness. He returned 13 punts that year for 162 yards. So we have special teams on the resume, which we like. In 2021, he was named honorable mention All Big 12 and academic Big 12 honoree. He started 11 of 13 games, and he looked good, but he didn't take a significant step forward. 32 receptions for 705 yards and 5 touchdowns. He led the Big 12 and was 4th in the nation, averaging 22 yards a catch. That's an amazing statistic, 22 yards a catch. But this year, Matt, unbelievable. And go back and watch the tape, everyone. First team All Big 12. Recorded the first 1,000-yard campaign of his career on 54 catches, and he scored 6 times. He ranked second in the Big 12 in receiving yards per game at 83.8, and yards per reception at 20.1. Matt, back-to-back seasons over 20 yards per catch. In his career, he was fifth nationally with 6 receptions of at least 40 yards and second nationally with 5 receptions of at least 50 yards. He has led this team in receiving yards in each of his 3 seasons. He has returned 32 punts, 11.5 yards per punt, and 4 kickoffs for 105 yards. He ranked third in school history with 18 receptions of at least 40-plus yards. Matt, he is just dynamic, electric. The combine opened my eyes. What's your film study say?
I love Marvin Mims. I've been watching him now. I've stacked up a few years worth of tape on Mims. I think we're up to 7, 8, 9 games on his film review because I just can't stop watching him. I love the sticky hands, John. He has sticky hands, excellent ball tracking ability. He reacts so well to underthrown balls in off-target passes. It's one thing I love to see. And John, oftentimes these sub 190 guys, they could have a little bit more trouble, right, reacting to those off-target passes, putting their body in a position to react well. Not Mims. And Mims is able to win at all 3 levels of the field. I love his mental concentration working through traffic. He plays really well downfield. You talked about that stat there, over 20 yards per reception, right? You can see that play through because he has tremendous vertical ability. And he has better contested catch ability than he probably should, right? Like he is going up and he's winning contested catch balls that guys who are 6'1" and 6'2" struggle with. So, he actually graded out decent in contested catch ability despite the fact that he's 5'11", 183, because he puts his body in a position to win and he has a great vertical, right? Good athleticism there. John, it's so funny on tape. This is one of the things that was holding him back, right? It didn't look on tape like he was a speedster. It didn't look on tape like he was overly athletic. And then he goes to the combine and he absolutely burns. And once he puts that on record, that 4.3 speed, you kind of start to take a step back and saying, like, what were they having him do in this scheme that they weren't letting him do this, right? But he wins with his release. So I think he's going to win off of man coverage, and I don't think they're going to be able to jam him too close because of his speed. They're going to have to respect that at the next level. So I think an NFL coach is going to want to deploy Marvin Mims in a variety of ways because he wins in a variety of ways. There's really not too much negative on his tape. I will say he does most of his damage before the catch. He's not a huge yards after catch yak guy, but that is not a trait that I weigh heavily in my process anyways. It's not something that consistently translates well to the NFL. So he does everything well that I need him to do well. He came to the combine, he showed up, John, and he's gaining a lot of momentum now for very good reason. Part of that is the stats.
Matt, I had to go back because when I looked at that 4.38, I was like, what did I miss in the numbers? The numbers were good. And like I said, he was in my top 12. But right now after the combine, and also factor in, Matt, in the 40 in the 3-cone drill, he was a 6.90. And there's your explosion and burst with elite speed, right? So we have a lot of what we wanted to see athletically. And Matt, he's 5'11", 183. We've been talking about smaller receivers as we do all of these videos. He's actually the biggest of the so-called small receivers. And like you said, he plays bigger than he looks on film. And then I looked at the numbers, 123 career receptions. Good, not great. If he played another year, Matt, he easily could have ended up with 200 career receptions, and I would have loved that. So very impressed as a early breakout, and he's leaving for the NFL early to clear. That's a good number. Yards per reception, Matt, 19.5. That, let me see. Quentin Johnson has 19.0. Oh, Marvin Mims is top in this year's class for yards per reception. Incredibly impressive. Now, the 59% catch rate, that's interesting. I'm not sure if it's a snafu because he looks like he has better hands and they have pretty good quarterback play, but he did play with Rattler a little bit, but I would like it to see a little bit better, but I like his hands on film. So I'm not going to let that really deter my overall profile. But aerial dominator, Matt, 33%. That's amazing. And receiving yards per team pass attempt, 2.66. He hits too many of my benchmarks. I love the film. Matt, what does the fantasy football universe need to know about Marvin Mims?
All right, John. Marvin Mims here. I've got him projected as day too late, 51 to 102 right now. I would not be shocked if he does end up going in the top 50. I think his momentum is gaining. So as we go into April, he might be considered more of a top 50 lock pick, but proceeding with some realistic expectations at this point in time. His ADP projection for me in a super flex or super flex rookie draft is 205 to 208. I think he's a really nice value. Again, if he does capture that top 50 draft capital, he might be sniffing more in the first round, but we're at a progression here because about 2 weeks ago here, we would have thought about him as a mid third round player, right? So I say he's gained an entire round of value here. I have him projected as a weekly starter. So that's a wide receiver 2. And I have him comped here to Tyler Lockett. I think in terms of fantasy value right now, they're going to go off the board in a very similar place for in a dynasty startup draft, and I'm going to have very high exposure on Marvin Mims. I'm a big fan of him. I'm going to be looking to get him pretty much everywhere I can. And John, I hope our listeners are looking to get our content everywhere they can because it's everywhere, John. We got the Discord here for Rookie Big Board patrons. We have our rankings, Dynasty Devy rookie rankings. The rookie guide is out now, 96 pages of content. We have articles going up now at patreon.com/rookie big board. There's so much action to get in on during draft season. You have to make sure you're prepared and you have to make sure you have the access to the Rookie Big Board resources. So make sure to head on over to patreon.com/rookie big board. And as always, we appreciate you checking out this episode of the Rookie Big Board.